Have you ever wondered why some people earn a decent income, have a stable job, do not shop like crazy, do not live an extravagant lifestyle, but still feel like they are not moving forward at the end of every month? It is not because they are lazy. It is not because they do not understand money. And it is not always because they are irresponsible. The real problem is much quieter than that. It is the monthly payments, the credit card payment, the student loan payment, the car payment, the installment plan, the interest charge. Every month, the paycheck arrives. And before that money has a chance to build anything, it is already being divided up to pay for decisions from the past. And that is why so many people do not feel like they are getting ahead. They only feel like they are becoming slightly less behind. This is where the real story begins. Not with how to earn more money, not with how to look more successful, but with one simple question: where is your money actually going every month? Now imagine someone named Diana. Diana is 34 years old. She has a stable job. She earns around $67,000 a year. She is not the kind of person who spends money recklessly. She is not buying designer clothes every week. She is not eating at expensive restaurants every night. She is not trying to impress people with a luxury lifestyle. In fact, Diana looks responsible. She contributes a small amount to her retirement account. She cooks at home. She tracks her spending. She knows where her money is supposed to go. From the outside, Diana looks like someone who is doing everything right. But inside her financial life, there is a very different story. She still has more than $23,000 in credit card debt, almost $28,000 in student loans, and a car loan that she once promised herself she would pay off quickly. But she has not. Every month, Diana pays a little over $1,200 toward these debts. At first, that sounds like a normal monthly payment. Just another bill. Just another part of adult life. But that is exactly the problem. Because that $1,200 is not being invested. It is not buying assets. It is not building an emergency fund. It is not creating freedom. It is not building her future. It is simply leaving her account month after month, year after year. And the most painful part is this. If that same money had been invested consistently for 10 years or 20 years, it could become hundreds of thousands of dollars. So Diana is not only losing $1,200 each month, she is losing what that $1,200 could have become. She is losing the future value of her money. And this is the most dangerous part of debt. Debt does not only make you feel poor today, it quietly steals the opportunity for you to become wealthy tomorrow. Most people look at debt in a very simple way. How much do I owe? What is the interest rate? How much do I have to pay every month? And on the surface, that seems like enough. But it is not, because very few people look at debt through the deeper question. What is this debt taking away from my future? Not just from my bank account today, not just from this month's paycheck, but from the life I could have built if that money had been working for me instead. This is why interest is so dangerous. Interest is not just a fee. It is not just a number on a statement. Interest is an invisible tax. Nobody calls it a tax. No bill arrives with a line that says, "Your future wealth has just been reduced." No app sends a notification saying, "You lost another piece of your financial future today." But that is exactly what is happening. Every dollar you pay in interest is a dollar that no longer has the chance to be invested. A dollar that no longer has the chance to grow. A dollar that no longer has the chance to become an asset. For Diana, the total interest on her debts could be more than $26,000 just in interest. And $26,000 is not a small number. That could be several years of retirement contributions. It could be part of a down payment on a home. It could be the starting capital for a small business. It could be the safety fund that gives her the confidence to change jobs, take a better opportunity, or move her life in a new direction. But instead of becoming any of those things, That money disappears. It leaves her account. It goes to someone else. And it never comes back to build anything for her. That is the real cost of debt. Not only the payment, not only the balance, not only the interest rate. The real cost is the future that money could have created. This is what I call the debt tax. The tax of debt. A tax no one forces you to name. A tax no one clearly shows you. But one that quietly takes money from you, month after month, until you finally decide that your future is worth more than your past payments. Now let's look at Daniel. Daniel earns almost the same income as Diana. He did not win the lottery. He did not receive a large inheritance. He did not suddenly double his salary. He did not buy one magical stock that changed his life. From the outside, Daniel's life does not look dramatically different. But financially, one thing changed everything. Daniel paid off his consumer debt. Before that, he was in a very similar position. He had credit card debt, he had student loans, he had a car payment. He had money leaving his account every month before it ever had a chance to build anything. But then, for 18 months, Daniel made debt the target. He stopped treating each payment like a normal part of life, and he started treating each debt like something that had to be removed. He used the debt avalanche method. That means he attacked the highest interest rate first. The most expensive debt came first. Then the next one. Then the next one. And every time one debt was paid off, he did not use that extra money to upgrade his lifestyle. He did not immediately buy a nicer car. He did not move into a more expensive apartment. He did not turn the old payment into better restaurants, more subscriptions, or weekend spending. Instead, he took the payment from the debt he had just cleared and pushed it into the next debt. That is when the speed began to change. At first, progress felt slow. Then one account closed. Then another one closed. Then the payment attacking the final debt became bigger and bigger. And eventually, the last payment was gone. Daniel's income did not change. His job did not change. His salary did not magically increase. But his cash flow changed completely. Suddenly, every month, more than $1,300 was no longer being sent to a bank, a credit card company, or a car loan. That money finally had a new direction. First, Daniel rebuilt his emergency fund, because freedom without protection is fragile. Then he increased his retirement contributions enough to get the full employer match, because free money from an employer should never be ignored. After that, he started investing into a Roth IRA. Then the rest was automatically invested into low-cost index funds. Daniel did not become rich overnight. Nothing dramatic happened in one day. But from the moment the final debt disappeared, his money changed direction. Before, his money was paying for the past. Now, his money was building the future. But debt does not only affect your bank account, it affects the way you think. It changes the way you look at risk. It changes the way you look at opportunity. And sometimes, it changes the way you look at your own future. Because when you are carrying debt, every major decision in life gets filtered through one quiet question. What if this does not work out? And if it does not work out, can I still make the payments? That question follows Diana everywhere. She may want to take a new job with better long-term growth. But what if the starting salary is a little lower? She may want to learn a new skill that could increase her income later. But what if she has to pay for the course first? She may want to start a small project of her own, something that could become a real business one day. But what if the income is not stable in the beginning? Every opportunity comes with the same invisible wall. Can I still cover the debt? Can I still make the credit card payment? Can I still pay the student loan? Can I still afford the car note? And slowly, that question trains her to live defensively. Not because she has no ambition, not because she does not want more, not because she is afraid of hard work, but because her monthly payments have made her freedom smaller. She cannot take every smart risk. She cannot easily change direction. She cannot fully choose the opportunity that may be better 5 years from now, because she is still paying for decisions made years ago. Daniel's situation is different. When his consumer debt disappeared, his survival cost dropped. He no longer needed as much money every month just to stay above water. One difficult month did not automatically become a financial emergency. One job change did not feel as dangerous as before. One new opportunity was not immediately crushed by the fear of missing a payment. And that is the part many people miss. When debt goes away, your bank account does not just feel lighter. Your mind feels lighter too. You stop making every decision from fear. And you finally start making decisions from possibility. So where does someone in Diana's position actually begin? Not by trying to look rich, not by pretending everything is fine, and not by jumping into some complicated investment strategy before the foundation is fixed. The first step is much simpler, but also much harder emotionally. You have to look directly at the full number, not the number you hope it is, not the number you vaguely remember, the real number. How much do you owe? What is the interest rate on each debt? How much are you paying every month? And inside that payment, how much is actually reducing the balance? And how much is just interest? Because until you see the full picture, you are not really fighting the debt. You are only reacting to it. Once you know the numbers, the next step is to choose a payoff method. If you want the method that wins mathematically, use the debt avalanche. That means you attack the debt with the highest interest rate first. Not the biggest balance, not the most annoying payment, the highest interest rate. Because that is the debt costing you the most money every single month. And if you have high-interest credit card debt, that debt is usually the financial leak that needs to be stopped first. It is the part of your money that is bleeding the fastest. But there is another method too, the debt snowball. With the snowball method, you pay off the smallest balance first, even if it is not the highest interest rate. Why? Because sometimes the biggest problem is not the math. Sometimes the biggest problem is momentum. If paying off one small debt gives you the motivation to keep going, then that small win matters. Because the best method is not always the one that looks perfect on paper. The best method is the one you can actually finish. Then comes the next step. Find extra money for the debt every month. It does not have to be dramatic. It could be $100. It could be $200. It could be any amount you can repeat consistently. The number does not need to impress anyone. It just needs to move you forward. Because every extra dollar you send toward the debt is not just reducing a balance. It is reducing the amount of time your money stays trapped. And every month you pay the debt off faster is 1 month earlier that your cash flow comes back to you. 1 month earlier that your money can stop serving the past and start building your future. And this is the most important part. You have to know what you are going to do before the final debt payment disappears. Because many people pay off debt and then the old payment quietly becomes something else. Better takeout, more shopping, a nicer apartment, a newer car, a few more subscriptions, a lifestyle that slowly expands until the money is gone again. Not because they are bad with money, not because they failed, but because they never gave that freed cash flow a job before it arrived. When the debt disappears, the money needs a destination immediately. First, it should rebuild your emergency fund, because freedom without a safety net is still fragile. Then, it should capture the full retirement match from your employer if you have one, because leaving free money on the table makes no sense once your cash flow has room to breathe. After that, it should move into long-term investing, retirement accounts, index funds, brokerage accounts, assets that can grow quietly over time. This is where the difference between Diana and Daniel becomes powerful. They do not earn dramatically different incomes. They are not living in completely different worlds. But after 10 years, Daniel could have hundreds of thousands of dollars more. After 20 years, that gap could grow to more than $500,000. Not because Daniel made more money, not because he was smarter, not because he was luckier, but because his money was no longer being used to pay for the past. His money finally started building the future. And that is the biggest lesson. You are not always stuck because your salary is too low. Sometimes you are stuck because your money never gets the chance to work for you. Debt turns compound interest into your enemy. Paying off debt turns compound interest into a quiet worker for your future. So, the real question is not only how much debt do I still have? The real question is, if this debt did not exist, what could this money become in 10 years? What could it become in 20 years? And once you answer that question honestly, you stop seeing debt as just another monthly payment. You start seeing it for what it really is, the thing standing between you and a freer version of your life.